Hey everyone, welcome to MT Guitar. Hope you're doing well. Today we're doing I'll Follow You Into the Dark by Death Cab For Cutie. This was their best-selling single. Just acoustic guitar and vocals on the recording, that's it. Really a natural sound, very little editing, and they just used one mic on the recording. So this is a great song to learn for your fingerstyle skills because you're going to be doing it fingerstyle while strumming. And that's a really nice blend to work towards because it gives a lot of flexibility. You can pick out individual notes while also keeping a consistent strumming pattern going to give sort of that solo guitar some movement, right? Because we don't necessarily always need to have drums to feel the beat. So we'll go through that note for note. As far as Music Theory Monday, which is today, the next episode, I'd love to talk about my process, or maybe a process you could imagine for a musician when they're improvising a part, right? Now, I sang the first verse and chorus, and I did it pretty much exactly like the guitar part in the recording. After that, I started improvising, right? I started... And I get a lot of questions about, can you teach that, or can you go over that? And, I can. I'll go ahead and tab that out and put it on the Patreon. But perhaps more importantly, I'd like to talk about the process of how that kind of thing can come about, because really that's mostly improvised, kind of. All right. So what I mean by that is it's very unlikely for me to play that the same way twice. Not because I don't want to, but mostly because I'm not sure exactly what I did. It's sort of in the moment, picking out certain strings or certain rhythms, with the melody and accompaniment all happening at the same time. So it's not like I'm writing out a tab and memorizing that and then playing it just like that. Okay, so let's talk about the process of that. I think, just looking behind the scenes at what's going on there and how could you maybe work towards that. So I think the right way to start talking about that kind of process would be to talk about melody and accompaniment and how they can work together. Now with guitar, this can be tricky because we generally see the rhythm guitar part as the chords, the accompaniment, like we're going to learn in this song, right? And then the melody is what Ben Gibbard is singing, right? It's not being played on the guitar, but it's a crucial aspect of the song, perhaps even more crucial than the guitar part, right? To be honest, that's what if a song gets stuck in our head, we generally are hearing the melody. So understanding that can be played on the guitar, and you might want to just start with just doing it separately first. But can you hear the chords underneath? During that part of the melody, it's over the F chord. Back to C, then that's over the G. See? I don't even need to play the G to hopefully hear that. And if you can start to hear the chords underneath the melody, you're on the right path. Same thing with playing the accompaniment. The chords, can you hear the melody? Da, da, da. Even if you're not singing, can your ear hear it? All right, and then if you learn that on the guitar, you can start to work those together. Now on a piano, this is really clear because, it's more clear. I'm not sure about really clear, but generally in piano, you would have sort of the chords or accompaniment going on the left hand. And if you're learning a song on the piano, you might play the melody on the right hand. And visually, that's not too overwhelming, right? You can kind of see the chords and the melody all working together. So we want to work towards being able to do that on guitar. And when you start to see that, happen or hear that play out as you play, you start to make choices that are up to you, right? Because you could memorize every single note I did just there, or you could understand the melody and the chord beneath it and pick out which strings you want to play. See, I'm just making little improvisations, and it doesn't always work. I think I locked myself in a room and tried thousands and thousands of different ideas before I felt like, okay, I can kind of share this with other people and be pleased with it. But it takes time, and this is the kind of thing where you want to experiment with your own musical journey through a key. All right. Last thing I'll say, since it is Music Theory Monday today, before we zoom in. If we think about this in the key of C, we want to analyze the accompaniment, okay, with Roman numerals so that we can see it as blocks of information as opposed to just Where do I put my fingers, right? So we want to internalize it in terms of the key. And we want to do that with the melody with scale degrees. So let me walk us through that as a sample of how you would do that. This is our one chord. We're building a chord off of the first note of C major. All right, so that's our one chord. It's major, okay, so we're in the key of C major. The next chord in the verse is A minor. That's the sixth chord. It's minor. So we would put a lowercase 6. Happens to be the sixth note of C major, so relative minor, okay? And it goes to F. There's the 4 chord. All right, so major, back to 1, and then 5. All right, so knowing that 1, 6, 4, 1, 5, 1, I start to internalize the way that should sound in my ear after, again, perhaps hundreds or thousands of hours. All right, so don't worry if it doesn't come right away. So then let's look at the melody. You'd have, these are scale degrees, happens to be heavily using the C major pentatonic scale, okay? So I can classify that so that I can move it out of my fingers, memorizing the frets, into my ear and mind, all right? So that would be second, third degree, and then fifth, back to 3. And that's kind of a melodic theme right there. He does it twice before going back to the 1. He goes back to the 1 over the 4 chord. So, you know, it may not sound as exciting to talk about the Roman numerals and scale degrees as much as just sort of feeling it, but it's kind of nice to do that, so then you're not thinking as much actually, because you've mapped it all out. You know where the Roman numerals are, you know where the scale degrees are, and then you can kind of let your own creativity take over and say, oh, I want to throw that note a little sooner, or play these strings, or change the chord quality. So it's a long journey, but that would be my Music Theory Monday episode today. Just how is this happening? How are people improvising and seemingly playing the song in a multitude of different ways, depending on their mood, their creative expression at that moment. Okay, so check out the Patreon where I'll have this song tabbed out for you. And, you know, remember to subscribe, hit the bell icon. I really appreciate all your support, all the thumbs ups. It's great to have you with us on the channel. So let's go ahead and zoom in and learn this song. All right, so we have capo on the 5th fret. I'm going to teach you a couple habits right away before we do the chords, because it's going to save you a lot of hassle just to get the right habits going now, okay, and the right patterns going. And so what's happening in this song is a hybrid of strumming and picking individual notes. So let me just play it and you can see what I mean here. So really, what we want to do is we want to create the pattern, you know, early on, so that you can just repeat it no matter what the chord is. So we're going to do A minor here, bass on the first beat. That's a common thing to do for fingerstyle, is to play the bass on the first beat. Okay, so 5th string, bass. Now down on the middle strings. If you're not exact, if you play other strings besides the middle strings, that's fine. Now you're going to go up, but just on one string, just on the 2nd string. So it doesn't look like an up strum, but I'm clearly going bass, down, up, because it's the upbeat. So just getting that is worth it, right? Bass, down, up, bass, down, up, bass, down, up, bass. And I'm doing it with my index finger. Sometimes I do it with my middle finger, but usually the index. So I would try that first. Bass, down with the index, up with the index. Second half of the bar, it's almost exactly the same, except he adds another rhythm here. So it would be bass, up on the 3rd string, down on the middle strings, up on the 2nd string. Okay, so that entire bar would be, even just looping that until you get up to speed. Okay, and that pattern continues basically throughout the whole chorus. The song starts on the chorus instrumentally. Okay, so it's the intro, but it's the chorus, because he plays the chorus exactly the same when he sings it later. So we're going to run that pattern throughout the next chords here. So that's A minor, C, same pattern, F. This time the melody moves to the 3rd string. When I say melody, it's the top note of the picking pattern, okay? So the top note pitch-wise, so that would be 3rd string now. So he goes bass, down, up on the 3rd string. And then bass, up, down, up, okay? C, and he goes bass, 3rd string, down, 2nd string, then to C over B, so just 2nd fret, same pattern. So we're going to run that entire line, and hopefully this is going to save you a lot of time later, because this is really what happens throughout the entire chorus, and the verse is very similar. Here we go. 3, 4. Okay, so let's keep it going. That's a great start. All right, A minor, next line, C, now G. Okay, bass, down, up. The kind of G with the 3rd fret, 2nd string. All right, so bass, down, up, bass, up, down, up. Doesn't look like up, down, up, but that's my point. We're doing a hybrid of strumming and picking. So bass, up, down, bass, down, up, down, up. Okay, good. Halfway there. A minor, C, E. All right, pretty cool. So again, the melody goes to the 3rd string. Bass, down, up, down, up. Okay, that was a little sloppy, sorry. Bass, down, up, down, up. Now A minor. Again, bass, 3rd, down, 2nd. A minor over G, so put that pinky in the 3rd fret bass. Bass, up, down, up. F, bass. F minor, but when he does the F minor, he does a sort of a rake with his thumb. So on that first beat. All right, and then down, up, back to C. Okay. Then he starts the alternating bass pattern that we're going to do for the verse. All right, so for the verse, we're going to do, it's a simpler part, okay? So it's just bass, down, up, but it's an alternating bass, so we're going from 5th string, down, up, to 6th string, down, up. Okay. A minor, same thing. Very common alternating bass pattern to learn. Then F. This time we're not going to alternate, which is also common. With the 6th string, you don't always alternate it with the 5th string because it's a little, it just doesn't sound as good, to be honest. Okay, so bass, down, up for 2 bars. C, don't alternate. That's because he's going to the 5 chord, so it would be premature to go to that G early. These are the types of things you think about when you play for thousands of hours, and you know, you just sort of automatically know it's just going to work better like that. And then bass on the G, down, up, bass, down, up. Okay, so that repeats. So let's practice the verse together for practice sake. Here we go. Okay. Then we go back to the chorus. All right, so we've actually learned the entire song. So really, it's not that bad. The only thing I'll say here is, so we've covered the chorus and verse. It's a classic verse-chorus song, no bridge. But after the first verse, it goes to the first chorus. Then we have 2nd verse, 2nd chorus. 3rd verse, there's an extension. So on the 3rd verse, when it ends on G, usually it would just end on G. C to G, and then it would go to heaven. And it would go heaven and hell decides on the chorus. But on the 3rd verse, it extends by going A minor for a bar, and then F for 4 bars. Then he goes to the chorus, A minor. Okay. At the end of the very last chorus, the 3rd chorus, there's a little tag. Tag just means repeat the last few bars, last 4 bars usually. All right, so that's going to sound like this. So when taking it from the E chord or whatever, so A minor to A minor over G, F, just like before, but this time, instead of C and then you're done, you would play C over B to A minor, and then F for a whole bar, F minor to the dar, and then C. Okay, so that's it, and I think, like I said, getting that pattern on the first line, that first bar, is going to be crucial, and then you can kind of just carry it out to the rest of the song. Hope that makes sense. Let me know and enjoy.